And if you believe with me, rise on your feet and let's sing together. Yo, 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 yo.
Attention. The future generation is here with us right now. We're their voices. We have to stand and be counted. Pata, pata.
Good afternoon, everybody. A very warm welcome to our final closing Lekgotla session. In this session, we're going to be doing some reflections from this year's Pata Summit from a great panel. We're also going to launch the new Pata strategy. And of course, the most exciting part is to also announce some of the Great Pata Awards for this year's summit. But before we go into the panel discussion, we're going to watch a video. But before I do that, I actually want to read a little message that was sent to me from AREP in Kenya, which this is how it reads. It says, it's the grand finale of the hashtag Pata 2023 summit in Homa Bay. They say the first time is luck, the second time is a charm, but for Pata 2023, each day has been a spellbinding symphony of innovation and collaboration. So I'm not sure I could have said it better than that. So thanks, AREP. Before we go into the panel discussion and I introduce you to some of the panelists, we're going to look at a quick video which I think underpins and sort of summarizes quite a lot of some of the key messages already shared across the summit. And I'm sure you'll also be recognizing a few people in the video from the summit. So if I could ask the tech team to please share the video.
I think the reality is that we're still very far from ending new infections in children. If you look at the data, it's clear that our progress has flatlined. We still have over 160,000 new infections in children every year. There is a huge gap between children and their mothers with respect to access to treatment.
Many communities are faced with real structural barriers: stigma, discrimination, punitive laws, violence, social, cultural, gender inequalities.
Frontline healthcare workers are the critical piece of the puzzle that's been missing in solving the crisis of pediatric HIV infections.
They're the ones who drive this movement to end AIDS.
We believe that we can have all the health systems we need, we can have all the drugs we need, but without trained, capacitated health providers, we will not be able to achieve our goal.
And PATA stands out for that reason alone, in just focusing on what's needed to actually provide care.
The health provider situation in many countries in Africa is a concern. And PATA presents an opportunity for these health providers to provide stories of the real situations they're facing on the ground.
We want to look into a different perspective for them to voice their feelings, their stress, their challenges.
They're working under extremely difficult circumstances. It's demotivating to work in a broken health system. It's frustrating to watch patients get sick. It's frustrating to watch patients die, especially when they're children. Healthcare workers have the right to be compensated for their time. They have the right to work in a safe and supportive environment. To me, it's critically important that PATA's mission of supporting and sustaining frontline healthcare workers is recognized.
We cannot make policies without understanding what health providers' needs are.
To be able to have the voices of the frontline health providers influencing decisions at the top levels of national and global policy, and to link on those policies to the front lines of health is one thing that I haven't seen as effectively implemented than by PATA.
So the Global Alliance is a recently launched collaboration. The Alliance is coming together with countries to try to tackle 4 areas where we want to see progress happening.
Through this Global Alliance of Ending AIDS, we need different stakeholders, and frontline health providers are most important. If we are leaving them behind, I don't think we are going to reach there in our targets.
What we really need to get right is the integration of HIV services into primary healthcare settings.
A huge part of that health system are the frontline healthcare workers. If we're not supporting them, we don't have a healthcare system.
And it's therefore critical that we acknowledge, celebrate, support, and value the work of frontline health providers, and make sure that we are providing sufficient investments directly to the frontline.
Great. I think that video summarized quite a lot of the sentiment across the summit, across the 3 days, and just a real valuable contribution of all the special people who support PATA, especially you as frontline health providers. We're going to go into a short, I'm going to try to keep it short, panel discussion. And this is really just from key stakeholders through the summit and partners, just to get some reflection from different perspectives. You know, what's the summit meant, how's it been, and some of the key messages that they leave with us as we end the summit. I'm not going to read bios in detail. I think all of you hopefully have read all the bios on the Hub. I'm just going to introduce each panelist as I direct a particular question to them. And I will, of course, introduce them. So first off, I'm going to start closest to home. I'd like to ask Casco Mabanga, who is a country representative for PATA in Zambia. I wanted to ask Casco, being part of the PATA team, and also being part of these crazy preparations over the last few weeks in preparing for the summit, what particularly stands out for you in making the PATA summit different to other conferences or meetings? What do you think is sort of the magic of this Pata Summit?
Thank you, Luan, and it's really very exciting and amazing for the 3 days that we have had. Yes, a lot of things have been exciting for me in this 2023 Pata Summit. What I can say is that from the start, a lot of effort we are putting from the entire Pata team, starting with registration, the virtual sessions, the African cafes, and as well as the in-person workshop that we have had in the last 2 days. And kudos to our communication team, kudos to the M&E for that work, and as well as the tech and the entire Pata team, and as well as our partners who coordinated in terms of speaking to speakers, arranging the sessions, doing all the preparations. I would say kudos to everyone that has taken part in that. But also, most importantly, kudos to our finance team. You are for supporting us logistically. We really look very beautiful in countries in our sites because of the finances that sent to us. So kudos also to you. So what stands out for me in this Pata Summit is that we have had a platform in the 2023 where over 13 countries have participated. We had over about 22 satellite places where health providers came together and interacted, shared practical experiences and ideas, and a lot of interaction and excitement. So that is what stands out for me. But most also, what's very important is the in-person workshop. They provided a platform for interaction for health providers. Also, we engaged in a lot of discussions. But also, what was so exciting for us is that we also developed some kind of action plan that can be implemented when people go back to their facilities, because they have learned a lot from the sharing that took place in this. So that was very exciting, and the topic was very exciting. Disclosure is a challenge for most facilities, for most of us in the SADC, for most of the countries where Pata we are working. So the disclosure workshop was really very interesting for the providers, and that was very good and stood up for me. I think most of you've missed the in-person workshop that we have in one place that used to happen before the satellite. And I'm happy to tell you that in the 2023, that's what we 2024, sorry, that's what we will be going to. But also, I think what was an opportunity in this current setup was that we reached to more people because we are using satellite. We invite more people, unlike the one that they bring everyone in one place. Yeah, but you'll be pleased to know that next year, the Pata 2024, we're going to be having a small group, and we'll be all in one place, and everyone from all the countries are going to come in one place. And it will really be very exciting. I'm really looking forward to that. Otherwise, it was an amazing 3 days, and we had a good time here in Zambia, Quito to be specific. Looking forward to the next Pata Summit. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Casco. Thanks for that. And definitely also just acknowledging the team who works so tirelessly behind the scenes to make it all happen. And as you say, I think we're all looking forward to a slightly different summit next year, which will really be focused on health provider champions and bringing everyone together in one in-person summit. So I'm sure there'll be some very excited people knowing that. But yeah, just moving on a little, I want to ask Phakamani. Phakamani Moyo is a long-standing youth advisory member to Pata. He's a long-time peer supporter and coordinator of friendly service delivery in Zimbabwe. I want to ask Phakamani, from his perspective and the perspective of young people attending the Pata Summit, what stood out most?
Thank you so much, Lou. I hope I'm audible. What really stood out for me at first was that this summit, like any other, involved young people when it comes to its program, and also making sure that young people from different satellite spoke, they participate meaningfully. And also it provides them with a platform to highlight the real struggles that peer supporters are facing when executing their duties. And also, I would like to say that this year's summit provided young people with a platform to dialogue between them and partners, and also with healthcare providers, which I believe also it is contributing in terms of strengthening their relationship as they are working together. And also this year's summit spoke a lot in terms of collaboration, in terms of working together, peer supporters and young people and also partners. But mostly it is also focusing on building and developing trust between healthcare providers and also their clients. Making sure that the client is really comfortable when the client is coming to a healthcare facility, because it has been proven that with that relationship, we increase the number of young people coming in terms of retention to care. And then also we are talking about peer supporters having that space where they can easily articulate their issues in that platform. So I think this year's summit was really centered in terms of building and bridging the gap between peer supporters and healthcare providers, between healthcare providers and partners, and also mostly giving healthcare providers the skills on how to build the relationship with clients and also with peer supporters. And one more point that I cannot go without saying is that this platform, for example, in Zimbabwe, it provided healthcare providers, peer supporters, and partners to even engage with the higher offices of Ministry of Health in terms of the challenges that peer supporters or the struggles that they are facing on ground, and also trying to come up with ideas and initiatives so that we can try to mitigate the challenges that peer supporters are facing when they are executing their work. Thank you so much, Lou. I hope I covered everything.
Thanks, Pakamani. I mean, that's great. And I think, you really sort of highlighted the fundamental importance of building a trusting and solid relationship between young people and their health provider. And of course, I think providing space where peer supporters feel they are equally part and recognized as part of a health team. So thank you for that. I want to ask Fanny Epi, who I think many from Pata know well. She's the manager at Cameroon Baptist Convention Health Services, and of course, always representing frontline health providers. Fanny, what stood out for you most during this year's summit from the perspective of a frontline health provider?
Hello, can you hear me? Great. So, Luan, I would want to say that a lot stood out for us as service providers within this summit. The first thing, we felt celebrated as service providers. In the last two summits, we are focused on the service providers, and I think that tells us the dedication PATA has towards caring for the service providers who are the face of care, but really also looking at their challenges and exploring ways in which they can have the appropriate support. Luan, I would want to mention in the course of the workshop, one of our participants highlighted the fact that if she's not invited for the next year's summit, she would have to sponsor herself and make sure that she attends that summit. That tells you that she felt empowered, based on the workshops that she took part in. She felt she could contribute to making decisions, but most especially she was given the opportunity. Sorry. She was given the opportunity to share her perspective, but also move away from her regular day-to-day activities. I also want to mention that the PATA platform provides service providers the opportunity to make their voices heard. Unlike any other platform, we've not had the opportunity for service providers to say what their challenges are without, having to be shunned down by a higher authority for one reason or another. But we felt we have a safe space to share our challenges. And really, that is the opportunity that the platform provides for service providers. I also want to emphasize the fact that the PATA platform continues to highlight the immeasurable role of those who deliver care. Because of the number of health professionals who are linked to this platform, we think that PATA has the legitimacy to advocate for the rights of health providers, not just around providing services for young people and children, but also having the opportunity to improve on their work environment, but really having our service providers acknowledged for the work they do on a daily basis. Luan, I would want to mention that last week, one of our colleagues was shot because she was at the forefront of care. And today she's no more. That tells us that service providers are putting their lives on the line because they need to provide care to children and adolescents. And what that means is the service providers also must be taken care of. And by coming to this summit, we feel that we have the opportunity to move away from the stressors that we have on a daily basis. Thank you so much, PATA, for that opportunity. But really, like I said at some point, the contribution of the PATA platform can never be overemphasized. Because of the value, because of the approach that the PATA network uses, it helps us as service providers understand that they stand a better chance to advocate for health systems strengthening, but also to give a voice to those who are often not heard, and by this we are saying that health providers or the PATA platform provides an opportunity for the service providers, especially to have their voices heard at the Global Alliance to End AIDS Towards Children and Young People. Thank you very much, Luan.
Great, Fanny. Always just, you have a way of, just really being able to remind us what this work is about. And I think for all of us, and especially PATA, the recognition really in the HIV response that often the frontline providers are not sufficiently recognized, valued, or provided space or safe space to be able to raise their concerns. And I think, just that story you shared as well, I think for many of us, we really forget that health providers often put their lives on the line. We saw a lot of that, of course, through COVID. And I think particularly, in this closing, it would be amiss of me not to acknowledge how many health providers and families are deeply affected, even during this summit in Gaza at the moment. So, our thoughts are with them. And we know that many health providers there have lost their lives and continue to put their lives on the line in being able to serve the community. So our thoughts are with them. And thanks for that, Fanny. I want to move on to Owethu Mlanzeli, who's the Communications and Advocacy Advisor to Africa Reach. Many of you will remember Owethu as a communications manager at PATA previously. So we caring is sharing, I suppose. So we were able to share Owethu with Africa Reach. Owethu is representing Sonia Ndimbira, who's the lead at Africa Reach. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to be with us today. But Owethu, maybe over to you. Especially as a partner, Africa Reach has been a partner in the summit as well. There have been many suggestions made during the summit on what must be done. We know, to make things happen, we need funding. We know that Africa Reach, is very focused around political commitment and leadership commitment. So just, quickly to share some of your thoughts on how we specifically can advocate for increased resources, renewed dedication from our continent's leaders, and how initiatives like Africa Reach, with support from PATA and the PATA network, can contribute to collective efforts and inspire positive change.
Thank you, Luann, for highlighting those important topics. I think just before I answer that question, I want to echo the sentiments from my colleagues Pagawani and Casco when they spoke about collaboration. I'm struck really by the immense significance of our collective efforts in, advancing pediatric and adolescent HIV care in Africa. The passion and the dedication that has been displayed by everyone throughout the summit, whether they've been online or in person at satellite hubs, has been really commendable. So back to your question, Luann. I just want to take a moment to stress the critical importance of advocating for funding that is dedicated to children and young people in the HIV response. Our healthcare providers on the front line who tirelessly serve the young members of our communities deserve the resources necessary to carry their vital work. It's imperative that we prioritize and allocate the funds required to bolster their efforts. I think equally vital is the need for renewed political commitment, as you mentioned, from our continent's leaders, and we must come together to ensure the well-being of our children and young people, and that it remains at the forefront of our collective agenda. This commitment obviously must translate into concrete actions, policies, resources that empower our health workers and strengthen our health system. And in this endeavor, I know that in the beginning of the summit, Dr. Agnes had spoken about the importance of African-led, African-focused initiatives to sort of revolutionize pediatric and adolescent HIV care across the continent. I feel like we should leave the summit with a renewed sense of purpose, a shared determination to advocate for funding, and a resounding call for political commitment. We can definitely and will forego a path towards an AIDS-free generation in Africa, supported by continued partnerships with PATA, Africa Reach, as well as other like-minded partners here today.
Thanks, Soweto. And I think, as PATA, we look forward to working with Africa Reach, especially, in the ability to reach, leaders across the continent and be able to highlight some of the concerns raised by health providers in the front line and see how we could really bring some of those stories to bear and ensure that we can improve conditions for health providers. So we look forward to collaborating on that. I don't want to take up much time, but I would like to ask just each of the panelists, literally you can only make one sort of resounding last message sentence, hashtag, key message takeaway. So not more than one sentence, otherwise I'm going to intervene. And Glenna sent me a message to say I'm enjoying wine, but I do want to confirm with everyone, it might look like a wine glass, but I promise you it's a water, it's water. So in case anyone got the wrong message. But Casco, over to you. One final quick message.
Thank you, Luann. Yes, one final message I would just want to echo the PATA hashtag, the 2023 summit, where we said, do it right, do it together, and do it now. So for us to do that, we need genuine partnership between the clinical teams, community-based organization, and youth-led structures so that we can achieve the change that we want. Thank you.
Great. Thanks for reinforcing that, Casco. Pakamani, over to you. One final message.
Thank you so much, Alu. The message that I would like to pass through all the satellites that we have, I would like to say, yes, the summit has ended. But what is it that you are taking home? What is it that you are going to do differently going back home? What is it that you are going to do differently when it comes to working and strengthening your linkages with young people, with peer supporters, I would like to say, if you haven't come up with something, take this as a challenge to say, in whatever country where you are, find something that you will work together as a team that attended the summit. And then maybe next year in the summit, we can maybe showcase to say, from the 2023 summit, we were able to work with peer supporters, we were able to strengthen our relationship with our clients, and now we have achieved ABCD. I am challenging each and every satellite spoke. Thank you so much, Lou.
Great, thanks for that challenge, Pakamani, and an important reminder that really at the end of the summit and what it's all about is for each of us to leave thinking about what can I do differently, what can I do better, and you know, really reflecting on that, because it's not always about what we say, but it's about what we do and how our actions really begin to reflect some of the great recommendations, but it really is about how we change the what we do. So challenge taken. Fanny, over to you.
Thank you, Luan. I would say that we need tools, we need the resources as service providers, but most especially we need supportive supervision to be able to use those tools. Otherwise, it would be useless. But I would really emphasize the need for us to be taken care of. We need to think about the mental health of the service providers. We don't need to have Zoom calls for, you know, several hours in a day, or to have Zoom meetings every other day just to see results. We need to think about our service providers, and I'm sure that they'll produce better results at the end of the day.
Wonderful, thanks, Fanny. Oweitu, final remarks from you?
Yeah, thank you, Luan. I think from Africa Reach, our final very last message would be that we must pressure our governments and leadership at all levels to close the gap and prioritize children and adolescents affected by HIV.
Great, that was a good closing for our panel. So thanks for that, and just really huge thanks to all of you for making time just to be part of the closing of the summit. It's hugely appreciated. And also just to let everybody know that on the summit, on the hub under the summit, there is a drop down called advocacy, and you would be able to find the video that was shared. You'd be able to find Pata's sort of advocacy statement as well as Africa Reach. So please, if any of those you would like to use in any space, you can access it from there. I want to now share, and I'm going to really, I know I can't speak too quickly because of interpretation, but I'm going to try and be as quick as possible just to introduce you to some sort of highlights of the new Pata strategy. So I'm going to ask our tech team if they could quickly share that PowerPoint, if that's possible. Great, wonderful. So just very briefly, just to say that Patas was part of a broad sort of consultation process over the last year, even a little bit longer, both internally within the organization and also externally. And we are pleased that our full new strategic plan is going to be available definitely by December and looking all glossy and nice. But at the moment, you're getting the summary version, which really just, you know, is focused, well, it will run from 2024 to 2030 in line with the Global Alliance. And it's really focused on many of the things that emerged in the summit, which is about growing the Pata network, making the face of care more visible, and really transforming service delivery in partnership with communities. Could I have the next slide, please? Of course, the strategy builds on the existing Pata network. We wouldn't exist without all of you, and, you know, has shown huge growth over the last number of years. Just in terms of the number of countries engaged, also countries where we have active projects, number of health provider teams and members in the network. And obviously, as the network grows, we see a growth in number of children and adolescents, as well as health providers reached through the PATA network. So we look forward to growing the network with you as we move forward in our strategy. Next slide, please. I'm not going to go into detail around the rationale or the why behind our strategy. I think that's literally what we've all been talking about over the last 3 days. But just to say, you know, I think, of course, there will continue to be a focus on children, adolescents, and youth. The prevention, treatment, and care gaps were already well demonstrated across the summit. But we do know that Africa still remains the epicenter of the epidemic, with 90% of all children and adolescents living with HIV being from our continent. We've an exponentially growing youth population, and as many of you have already described, we have fragile health systems, often impacted by political, social, and economic factors. And sadly, we also face the fact that many of our health force is overburdened, understrained, and many leave our continent for greener pastures. And therefore, that's why we remain focused in our work in Africa. And health providers, of course, remain at the heart of our new strategy, because we believe health providers are neglected, but a critical part of the solution, and must be seen more as champions and change agents for the rights and health of children and young people. Next slide, please. We've set some ambitious growth targets for the coming few years, with a focus on growing together with all of you, strengthening prevention efforts, expanding and refining our package of technical assistance and support, and definitely growing a cadre of well-recognized and influential health provider champions, as well as transforming our own internal systems, online mechanisms, so that we are able to reach, communicate, and be close and connected to our network. Next slide, please. We've tweaked our vision and our mission just a little tiny bit, so you might not notice any big changes, but our vision remains in Africa, all African children, adolescents, and youth affected by HIV, accessing prevention, optimal treatment, comprehensive person-centered care, enables them to live long, healthy lives. Our mission is to connect, motivate, and empower a network of champions for health. That's all of you, rights and service quality for children, adolescents, and youth affected by HIV in Africa. Next slide, please. Our theory of change, I'm not going to go into that. It looks a little different than the previous one. You can see all of you there, our PATA network, the heart of PATA. You're at the center. You are our heartbeat. But our theory of change is similar. It's a little bit more simplified. As you can see, the network of health providers, as I said, is at the heart, and our key outcome areas are around the delivery of quality prevention, optimal treatment, and person-centered care. Also influencing and creating a more enabling policy and program environment for health providers to feel confident and supported to deliver services. And lastly, definitely to make sure that health providers can participate meaningfully in decision-making where their voices are heard and valued. Next slide, please. Our strategies are not hugely different to before, but our strategies support these outcomes and focus on developing and growing the network, continuing to provide linking and learning opportunities, providing locally led capacity building support, implementing projects, and lastly, of course, to increasingly be advocates and influence policy and practice. Next slide, please. So lastly, just all to you, I think you're all part of our network, but please help us also grow our network, continue this journey together with us. We value all your guidance and your support. And this is really around a partnership. And really also encourage each of you when you go back into your space to really create safe spaces for health providers to feel supported, to feel acknowledged. What can we really do differently to make that happen? And we welcome and look forward to your support as we move forward. Next slide and last slide. Thanks. And of course, thank you to all of our donors, our partners and collaborators for this summit. Hugely appreciate all your support in helping us make the summit happen every year. Okay, now we come to the very exciting part, which is to announce some of the PATA awards, Summit Awards. So similarly, if we could go to the next slide. Great. We know that this year the summit has featured 4 fun awards that have hoped to make some fun and enjoyment during the summit, bring some energy. And this included the Sassy on Social Award, especially for those being really active on the Linking and Learning Hub, doing all of the different trainings. There was an award for that. There was also a dance challenge, I Like to Move It award. And of course, a Face of Care challenge or award in terms of identifying particular health provider champions who'd been nominated or self-nominated. Next slide, please. This is just a reminder to everyone that this lives permanently on PATA's website. We welcome throughout the year for people to submit either their own stories or to nominate a health provider and a particular story and why you feel they're a champion and you would like them to be recognized. And everyone who submits does get to have their story put on the PATA website under the Voices tab on the PATA website. So please encourage people to nominate health providers and also send in your own stories. Next slide, please. Okay, so here was some really busy people over the last couple of days. I mean, oh, sorry, before I get to that, I wanted to talk about the health provider champions. These are all of you, and all of you have wonderfully been posting on the wall, posting on social media. But, you know, the Health Provider Champion Award actually now saw hundreds of pictures being shared, really showcasing the diversity of health provider champions working across Africa in different roles, in different places. So really just to thank you all, your pictures, your story submissions. It, of course, was impossible, difficult, virtually impossible to be able to choose a winner because there has to be one story that we want to identify and bring out a little bit as the face of care, particularly for a health provider doing it right, doing it together and doing it now. Next slide, please. So for this year's PATA Summit Champion, we would like to acknowledge and call out one particular champion, and this is Besa Chiwati from Zambia, who is a champion for children and adolescents. And her story there, you can see it highlights, you know, really being an advocate on behalf and for and with adolescents, actively promoting inclusion of adolescents in decision-making processes with her facility and in the community, and also really engaging in the community, building linkages, making sure that there's linkages with support services. And even going, you know, beyond, above and beyond in terms of getting involved in income generating activities, linking young people to different opportunities. So huge congratulations to you, Besa. And before moving on, I just also wanted to recognize there are 2 other people or three other people we want to recognize. I'm not going to be able to go into detail, but Mutemwa from Shifankula in Zambia, just a real recognition in your work with young adolescent mothers. And Winifred Chewe, also from Zanzu Healthcare. I don't know what's going on in Zambia. It's like Zambia's getting all the shout outs for health provider champions. But Winifred also a huge champion of adolescent-friendly services. And then Natasha Kamzai, who's a community adolescent treatment supporter in Zimbabwe. You were nominated by someone else, so incredible. And so lovely to just read some of the story about how you go above and beyond in so many ways for your peers, and also representing young people so ably on the National AIDS Council. So we really, really wanted to recognize you as well. Next slide, please. Okay, these are for those very studious and diligent Pata Network members who don't only do one capacity building training online, they do all of those that are available. So our winners in this category are three people who've done all of the Pata trainings. This is George Martin, Manyong Leonard Ngwai, and Manumba Abel. So huge congratulations to the three of you. And I'm sure Pata will be reaching out to you very shortly. So well done, and please everyone, these trainings often there will be new and additional trainings. Please do access trainings and also share with your colleagues, because there's no fee. Anyone can do any of these trainings online as well, even if not in person. Next slide, please. Yes, and then a very new and a sort of exciting new training that was launched, you know, in partnership with Y Plus Global, Her Voice Fund, is a capacity building curriculum, which is online for adolescent girl, young women serving and led community organizations. But essentially this tool can be used by any community-based structure or community-based organization. It's called We Are the Change. And it provides a lot of support in terms of, you know, how to get organized, how to build capacity of small structures in terms of being able to be more able to meet some of the due diligence often required by donors and governments. So please do share this with many of your colleagues. And then lastly, Sassy on socials. This was, gosh, I don't know, it's been totally on fire. I think the hashtag Pata 2023 hasn't gone to sleep over the last few days. I think the engagement has been completely off the charts. I mean, here we're featuring posts from Kango, Society for Family Health in Nigeria, KCIA, CBC Health Services in Cameroon, Pride in Zambia, AFF in Kenya, Ignite Young People, We Care in Malawi, and Jandiri in Zimbabwe. I mean, you were phenomenal, all of you. All your organizations were phenomenal in just sort of keeping the channels going. So I think the best with Sassy on social is really to say that we need to literally go and do all the statistical analysis to be able to come out with a real winner. But I think you all agree with me that actually all of you are winners. And I want to say just to all of you and the organizations who really, really supported the social media, has just been incredible. And your social media magic will not go unnoticed, we promise. So we will get back to you. And also special nod to all of those on the Linking and Learning Hub wall. You've been using the wall, communicating with each other, sharing pictures. And we really want to try hard, you know, next year or just post-summit to keep active in the Pata Hub. there's a wall. We can continue talking to each other, posting interesting things, interesting resources, talking to one another. So let's really use that space to keep the energy moving. And then very lastly, there was the Move It Dance Challenge. So we're going to, these are little snippets of some of the dance challenges that you sent in. We weren't able to show all of them. The quality might not be so great, but just to know they will all be also posted on the hub. So you'll be able to see all of them in full very soon. So if we could quickly share this video, and then we'll come back to do our final thanks and closure.
It's Kelpie Vibes.
Sound so cute, I'm gonna jump so cute. All my people they go jump so cute. Boss man, you go jump so cute. When the bed do they enter body, all the girl them go shake their body, they go shake their body. Oluwa bona mo bona belly, they mo bona belly. You know get money, you take up police. Me, I dey love you, Connie. Then say I take grace and no nama. But I go spray you the money on your ma. You supposed to know, say me no be newcomer. So my baby make you no go dollar, no go dollar. When the bed do they enter body, all the girl them go shake their body, they go shake their body. Oluwa bona mo go no felly, they mo go no felly. You know the money, you take up police. Me, I dey love you, Connie. As I dey sing, they feel the pulse. Make all the people jump around. Make you dey listen well, because I know if you shout. No joking around. Listen, make I tell you what it's all about. I know if you tell you I see what I ain't the coconut. You sit down inside boss, you say you be boss. Oh yeah, look, da da da. Look, da da da. Say suma pikin with the para with the ga ga ga. Kilo shele ba ba ba. Oh look, da da da. Look, da da da. Say suma pikin with the para with the ga ga ga. Kilo shele ba ba ba. When the bed do they enter body, enter body. All the girl them go shake their body, they go shake their body. Oluwa bona mo go na felly, go na. You get money, you take up police. Baby, they love you, Connie. Oluwa bona mo go na felly, they mo go na felly. You know get money, you take up police. Me, I dey love you, Connie. Say I take grace and no nama. But I go spray you the money on your ma. You supposed to know, say me no be newcomer. So my baby make you no go dollar, no go dollar. When the bed do they enter body, all the girl them go shake their body, they go shake their body. Oluwa bona mo go na felly, they mo go na felly. You know the money you take up police. Me I dey love you, Ghana. As I dey sing, they feel the pulse. Make all the people jump around. Make you dey listen well because I know if you shout. No joking around. Listen, make I tell you what it's all about. I know if you tell you I see what I ain't the coconut. You sit down inside boss, you say you be boss. Oh yeah, look da da da. Look da da da. Say suma pikin with the para with the da da da. Kilo shele ba ba ba. Oh look da da da. Look da da da. Say suma pikin with the para with the ga ga ga. Kilo shele ba ba ba. When the bed do they enter body, enter body. On the girl them go shake their body, go shake their body.
Every milestone we celebrate is thanks to you. Good job.
Wonderful, wonderful. Great. Well, I hope you are all able to see yourselves, find yourselves, but just to know that all those videos are going I need to unmute myself. Okay, it looks like. Thanks, everyone. Hope you were able to see yourselves. You'll be able to find those videos on the hub. You will see you all being upgraded right now. If I could just ask all of you just to keep your microphone on mute, but you can all put your cameras on. But I want to just bring the summit to formal closing and really extend a huge appreciation to all our wonderful satellite hosts, all our contributors, facilitators, note takers, data capturers, and all of you frontline providers in one way or other, either sitting in country or attending online. So huge thanks to you all. And of course, a massive and always huge gratitude and thanks to the entire Pata team, the tech teams across the region, everywhere in helping support and make sure that we have a successful summit every year. So huge appreciation and acknowledgement for all the work that goes on in the background to make this happen. So thank you, Team Pata. So yeah, as we end, please all put your cameras on. You've been upgraded. Leave your mic on mute for a little bit so we can see you all dancing. We're going to play out with a Pata song. We want to see you all dancing, waving and saying goodbye to everyone. And yeah, a huge thanks. So let's take it away.
Well, this song is dedicated to the children of Africa. We're here to say that no child should be born with HIV in Africa. And if you believe with me, rise on your feet and let's sing together. Yo, 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 yo. Pata, pata.
Attention. The future generation is here with us right now. And we're their voices. We have to stand and be counted. Pata, pata.
fighting for?
Who's gonna fight for them? Who's gonna speak for them? Can you rise and care for the children? Parental care, spiritual care.
You're right.
Africa rise, care for the children.
Somalia, Morocco, Namibia, Angola, DRC. Let's go! Yeah, yeah. Whoa, yo, 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 yo. That's why we sing. That's why we shout. Whoa, yo, 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 yo. Well, this song is dedicated to the children of Africa. We're here to say that no child should be born with HIV in Africa. And if you believe with me, rise on your feet and let's sing together. Yo, 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 yo. Uganda, Somalia, Morocco, Namibia, Angola, DRC. Let's go! Yeah, yeah. Why, yo, 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 yo. That's why we sing. That's why we shout. Why, yo, 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 yo. Africa, we sing. Kenya, we shout. Why, yo, 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 yo. One more time. Are you ready? Yo, 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 yo. Pata, pata, we care for the children. Yeah, man. Well, this song is dedicated to the children of Africa. We're here to say that no child should be born with HIV in Africa. And if you believe with me, rise on your feet and let's sing together. Yo, 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 yo.
Attention. The future generation is here with us right now. And we're their voices. We have to stand and be counted. Pata, pata. We care for the children. Pata, pata. Fight for them. Who's gonna speak for them? Can you rise and care for the children? Parental care, spiritual care. You're right. Africa rise and care for the children. Somalia, Morocco, Namibia, Angola, DRC. Let's go! Yeah, yeah. Why, yo, 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 yo. That's why we sing. That's why we shout. Why, yo, 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 yo.
this song is dedicated to the children of Africa. We're here to say that no child should be born with HIV in Africa. And if you believe with me, rise on your feet and let's sing together. Yo, 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 yo.